Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Industry, Minister Ronaldson. Liquid fuels security ensures food and pharmaceuticals can be transported across this country. Liquid fuels security ensures people can visit their family and friends. Liquid fuels security underpins all forms of security in this nation. On the 2nd of February, the Department of Industry appeared before a Senate inquiry into Australia's liquid fuels security. We were informed the government does not have a policy to maintain any onshore refining capability for Australia's oil production. Minister, can you confirm that the Australian government does not believe onshore refining capability is a part of our national interest?
The Minister for Veterans Affairs, representing the Minister for Industry, Senator Ronaldson.
Well, thank you, Mr President. Can I thank Senator Madigan for his question and make the observation that we had two questions before, one from the left wing of the Australian Labor Party and one from the Australian Labor Party, which are complete and utter twaddle. And I thank Senator Madigan for actually asking and using Senate question time for the way it should be used. And in answer to the Senator's question, I say that Australia is part of a global petroleum supply chain that has access to diverse sources for oil and refined products, both onshore and through the global market. And this has proven to be a highly reliable in maintaining supply of liquid fuel, even during the significant global and local disruptions. As the Senator will know, Australia's fuel comes from reliable sources of crude and refined product from a range of countries. At any given time, Australia has a lot of crude oil and refined product on the way to Australia via diverse shipping routes. Oil and oil products are traded globally through deep and liquid markets, and the market has a very high capacity to respond to price signals to continue supply. And in the response to the Senator's direct question, I can say to him, of course, that this government does value our onshore refining capacity as part of this deep and diverse supply chain. The government, however, believes that refinery closures are a commercial decision to be determined by the owners and operators of those refineries. The government does, however, ensure any refinery closures that do occur and the subsequent conversions to import terminals are done so in an orderly manner with a smooth transition to minimise any potential impacts on motorists and industries. The Government and the Department of Industry and Science commissioned a report in 2012 to assess any risks associated with refinery closures. And the report, the National Energy Security Assessment, NESA, identified issues, competitive pressures on domestic refining in 2012 report, assessed and tested Australian refining closure scenarios. And the main finding was that Australia
Minister. The time for answering the question has expired. Senator Madigan, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Minister, at the inquiry, the Department of Industry officials struggled to inform the committee how many days of fuel reserves we have in our country. Minister, how many days of fuel do we have in stock based on usual consumption? I'd appreciate an answer to this question in light of the fact that this question has been tabled for 4 days.
Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr President. Can I again thank Senator Madigan for his question? And just to finish off that last answer, I do note that we'll be releasing a National Energy Security Assessment later this year, just for the Senator's interest. I understand, Mr President, that data is collected in many forms as part of the government's ongoing monitoring and assessment of Australia's fuel position. I also understand the Department of Industry and Science collects petroleum industry information on production, refining, sales and stock of all petroleum from market participants. Aggregated trade, imports and exports data is currently sourced from customs via the Australian Bureau of Statistics. The Department of Industry and Science publishes an aggregated subset of this data as the APS publication on the industry website. The two most common measurements used in Australia are the net import day, total oil stocks in this country divided by the average net imports of the previous calendar year, currently around 52 days, consumption data, total oil stocks in the country divided by the forward average.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering the question has expired. On my left, Senator Madigan, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Minister, what reason can you provide to the Australian people to prove the government is not putting commercial and other political reasons before our national security on this matter?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. And can I say to Senator Madigan that I don't accept the premise of his question, and this government has a very clear record on national security. On top of that, all monitoring of the fuel market and all of our modelling of possible disruption scenarios shows that Australia is in a good fuel security position. I can assure him that the government continually assesses and tests our fuel security position, and these assessments have consistently shown that global markets would continue to supply Australia's requirement during supply disruptions. These assessments include a regular energy security assessment to provide a high-level overview of Australia's energy security position and in particular identify issues which need further monitoring and assessment. An examination of historical oil market responses to global oil market prices to determine how Australian and international oil markets have responded to different oil shocks in the past, and oil supply shock scenarios to determine the impact on physical oil supply to Australia.
Thank you.